Okay, so for the enemy Kismet stuff, um, so for the enemy attack, this is the piece for that, and what I showed in the previous video was the anim notify, and this is where that gets used. Um, and the reason why this stuff is in front of it is because you can't just use anim notify like that all by itself. It's not going to know where the notify comes from, or what it's supposed to be. So you have to attach that to something, and the way I do that is to use the agent reached event. The reach the destination event. So as soon as the enemy reaches the player, which this specific node is attached, this is attached to the player. That's the node they keep trying to get to. As soon as they reach that node, this fires off and it attaches this event to this object, which is the agent that reached this destination. So you're essentially saying use the anim notify of this object. So that's pretty much how that works. And the notify that you're trying to use is this one. This is the name that I gave in the anim set in the notify Kismet in the anim notify Kismet. And that's how you call that. So as soon as the animation plays and it reaches that point, it's gonna run this event for this object. So all this is just a subsequence that calculates extra height on, like, so what I do is I get the position of the current enemy, and the way these things work is just this is an external variable, and you just go in your variable external variable, and all they basically do is allow you to add variables from outside of a sequence. So what this variable is this input. It creates this input, and I input the current crowd agent that reaches the player into that. So I get the location and rotation for that, and the rotation goes directly out to this one. So I can get that value out directly from the sequence there, and then so I just separate out the vectors so I can add to the z, and I add that, and that's another external variable. That's this one. So I add 60 units to the what would be 0, or 0 local, which is basically the feet of the enemy. So I don't want to spawn the projectile at the feet. I want to spawn it about chest height. So that's like roughly 60 units. And then just output that, set that back into a vector instead of a bunch of floats, and output that to another external variable, and that's the finished sequence output to create this output, and that's the location vector, and that's pretty much how that works. So this is just to clean up all this instead of having all this stuff in here, just to clean that up, and that's just part of I'm kind of busy doing some general cleanup, and I'll show more of that later on, so that you can see some stuff, and yeah, I'll show what I'm doing there in a later video. So get that. So it's basically all this does, just gets a new location for the projectile to spawn in. Then it runs into the get property, which I get the health from the player, get the health, and the reason why I do it twice, like I get it there and I get it there, and the reason why I do it twice is I need I need the existing health, and then I need the health after the player gets hit, so I can detect I can detect the hit on the player. Um, so and yeah, okay, so let me just show quick. So I get the health there, and then I use those values against each other. So I test it against each other. So if the current health is actually smaller, you know, the health is actually smaller than the current health, which means you've been hit, then do this. Otherwise, you haven't been hit. So okay, so I get that property, and then fire off the projectile, and then destroy the projectile. And this delay before the destroy is just because it's a limited range attack, and it takes like about 0.1 of a second for the projectile to reach the limit. You know, so because it's about the length of the end of the sword, so it travels for 0.1 of a second, then it gets destroyed. So you know, so you don't have unlimited range. Do the second get property, and then run through to a remote event, and yeah, so that's pretty much the enemy attack. The projectile is pretty much as this piece here. It's just basically a particle system. I call it particle system blank. It's just like a really tiny particle that you can't see, and it just kind of shoots shoots that at the player, where you'd normally use a rocket or something like that. So I just use that, so you know you're not supposed to see it. And yeah, so that's pretty much the player attack stuff, or the enemy attack stuff.